definitely had anger issues when I was like at that duty station. So like you realize that the way that you respond to like people screaming at you, the way that you respond to like perceived disrespect, you can't do the same things there. And again, like I had a he wasn't our CEO, but he was like our division officer or whatnot. You have a certain energy about you that could be like threatening to people. You have to like be aware of that. Just because you feel like someone disrespected you, like you can't act like you can't respond like that. Like humble yourself. I remember that he had me walk around with the definition of humility in my pocket. So like every time he seen me, I had to like pull it out and like show him that I had it like in my pocket. Like at the time, I really didn't understand it, but like I know that he wanted me to humble myself, because if I feel like I have the right to respond that way because of some perceived disrespect, like that's you're not gonna get far in life doing things like that. You know what I mean? So
I would like to introduce you to my friend Kyron Holden. Kyron is one of the best men's physique competitors in the world today. He's had a rough life though. He's been through a lot, from his childhood with his siblings rallying together to raise each other, to going on and succeeding in boxing in his high school years, having some mentors along the way, going into the military. He shared some stories that he hasn't shared anywhere else. His story will move you. It will inspire you. It may make you self-reflect on your own life a little bit. So come and join us, because this is Kyron Holden, and this is how Kyron is making his mark. Today, we're going to dive deep into what makes you tick, okay? We're gonna peel back the layers. We're gonna go way back to where it all started.
Gotcha.
And then we're gonna kind of unravel you a little bit and find out where you're at right now in life, where you're gonna go. This is the Make Your Mark series. And
gotcha, okay.
You have made your mark, and you're gonna continue to make your mark. And we're gonna figure out all about what goes into that, okay?
Makes sense.
Let's go back, okay? back into the young Kyron, into your childhood. Let's go ahead and start with that.
Okay, so young Kyron, my upbringing is not the conventional upbringing, but I feel like a lot of people kind of go through that. I was raised essentially by my nieces. So my mom, she wasn't in a position to raise me, like had her own issues going on in life. My dad I have met him, but like he wasn't in my life. He had his own things going on. So I ended up being with my oldest sister from my dad's side. She like took me and my brother in, and then she pretty much became our guardian at that point.
Your older sister?
Older sister. She was from my dad's side, and she was like much older than me. I'm not sure how many years older than me, but she became my guardian, basically.
Really fast, how many siblings did you have?
Okay, so I have one brother, and I have two sisters that I know of, and those are my actual siblings.
That you know of?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Because again, my dad had Rolling Stone, I guess. Like he had a lot of kids, so I'm not sure if all my siblings, I haven't kept track of all my siblings, but the ones that were in my life that I grew up with, it were one brother and two sisters.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, so two sisters.
Yes.
One brother. Your sister took care of you?
Okay, so
okay.
Sisters from my mom's side. So like there's like there were siblings that I grew up with. The sister who took care of me, she was a much older sibling from my dad's side. So like she was my sister, but from my dad's side. The siblings who I had that we had the same mother, different group of people. So like that's what I mean by like my upbringing. It was just a little strange, but again, those are the siblings that we all share the same mom. The one brother and the two sisters. Right.
So, but between you and your siblings, you didn't really have an adult figure. You were kind of fending for yourselves.
In the beginning, we did have, my mom was there in the beginning, but then she got to the point where she couldn't take care of us. So we did have an adult around. We did have some kind of parental figure around, but at a certain point, she really couldn't take care of us.
How old were you when that happened?
I was young. I'm the youngest of my siblings as well. So like I was pretty young. It's probably like, I can't even tell you, honestly.
Really? Like 5, 6?
No, I didn't turn 5 or 6 until I was living with my older sister.
Okay.
So I know I was much younger than that. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And again, like I've like told parts of this story on like maybe other platforms, but like again, being as comfortable to talk about all this stuff is kind of new for me, to like let people know the intricacies.
No, I can see that. I could tell your you're explaining yourself, but it's kind of broken apart in segments.
Exactly.
And I would imagine that when you experience something like this in your younger life, it probably is processed in segments. You're almost maybe pushing some of it to the back of your...
For sure. Some of it is, they're not like readily available memories for me to like pick up.
That.
But some stuff is like, you're not really aware or conscious of what's going on at the time. So like you pick things up, you're also told things, how things went. So again, it sounds segmented because it's segmented to me in my mind.
Yeah. But you had a really good relationship with your siblings. You have great relationships with your siblings.
Absolutely.
And your sister who like really took you under her wing. Tell me about her. Tell me your relationship with her and that connection.
Okay, so Janet Holden, and again, so like, she was my sister from my dad's side. So like the rest of my siblings, like, we didn't share the same dad, we share the same mom. So like she took us in, and then she also took in the rest of my siblings, where she could have just took me in because I'm the only one that's really related to her. But like she was a person with a big heart. Like she was always known as that person in the family. So like when I think about like what she did and like the responsibility that she took on, it's like
how old was she?
Mind blown. I don't know I can't remember how old she was when she took us in. I know that she passed when she was like 45, I believe, or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
But
we'll get to that. But let's talk about the relationship you had with her during that time.
I feel like I had a very close relationship with her. Like she would tell me that like I reminded her of our dad. Like again, like my dad, he wasn't a bad person, but like he had his own things going on.
Okay.
So like she would say like I reminded her of him because she did love our dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she definitely instilled like discipline in us. Like before we could go outside for the summertime, we had to like read an article in the newspaper and like pick out the words that we didn't know. So like she instilled a lot of like dope things in us that I didn't realize at the time, like how much it would like pay dividends in my life. But she was.
Can I ask you a question? Okay, you kind of danced over this, and I just want to know, when she said you remind her of your dad.
Yeah.
Is that a positive thing?
Yes, because
the positive side of it.
He was very caring. From what I understood, and like the story she told me, was very caring. Again, like he had his own things going on in his life, but like
the caring part of him.
And also like again, I'm also uncovering things about my dad right now in my life as well. So like
only what you're comfortable with. I don't want
for sure. So like again, there were parts of him that were really good, and I think that she expressed that to me as well. So like the caring part, like the what else could I feel
sentimental.
Like sentimental, but also like the way he carried himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has swag. Oh, okay.
And also like smart and like driven. You know what I mean? So like those characteristics.
And a lot of people look up to you. You know, people are naturally drawn to you. And I think that that's something that some people just naturally have. You see this in like even with young kids, like in elementary school and stuff like that. You could already see
like
some of the kids like emerge who, for whatever reason, they just naturally have that social knack and intelligence that draws other kids to them. And then you kind of see it evolve over time.
Absolutely.
And in the bodybuilding world, I would definitely say that's the case with you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I could say the same. Like it was kind of identified in me like at a young age, I guess. And I'm seeing, and also I feel like you kind of go through times where like you really can't show that as much. I was like in the military for a while, so like a lot of that isn't really like promoted. Yeah. But definitely me coming into bodybuilding, I was able to kind of see like that effect on people.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you're with your sister. Okay. She instilled discipline.
Yes.
She kept you on the straight and narrow with school, your grades. What about sports?
I never really did any like sports like that. I know that
really?
Okay, so
that's crazy.
Again, telling some more stuff. Like when I was turning 6, actually on my sister's birthday, my sister Elizabeth's birthday, I got hit by a car. So like, again, this is like more stuff that I really haven't like told people, but I got hit by a car, like boom, went up and then like fell back down. I had to like learn how to like walk again, basically.
At 6?
At 6, I had like a crack in my skull right now, like still.
What?
So I think from that, like she was kind of scared to have me in any sports, anything like football, basketball, like scared to have me in sports like that.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get yourself?
I had to go to physical therapy like on Wednesdays. Not to go on Wednesdays. I know it took me a while. I was in the hospital for like a few weeks, and then it took me a while to like go to physical therapy to kind of get that ability back again. But yeah.
So you're in physical therapy at 6 years old.
Yes.
Learning how to walk.
Yes.
And then your sister is nervous about having you do sports because she's like, oh, I have this kind of fragile child on my hands who just learned how to walk. He was in a car, he was hit by a car. So tell me when that turned the corner for you, because you did get involved in some type of athletics, right?
Yes. So I started to box when I was in high school, but again, like that's after my sister had passed. My sister passed when I was going into high school. So like what year is that typically? Like your 8th grade year?
Okay. Your sister passing away when you're just starting high school. Okay. This is a really big deal because this is your guardian. This is your mentor. This is the person who you leaned on for support and got you through some tough times. So
absolutely.
Can you open up a little bit about that?
Yeah, I definitely can. Let's see. Like, again, at the time, like you're just processing it, like, okay, like first my biological mom couldn't like take care of me, and then the universe puts someone in my path who does take care of me, and then like you lose that person as well. Like you kind of go into like this state of like what's up? Like if there's a God, why is this happening like this? You know what I mean? So it would. I remember I always kept thinking that like she wasn't dead, like she just like went somewhere. She'll like come back or something
like that.
Did
that help you cope with it?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm
sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to think about like my thoughts at the time, like what.
Maybe you were, you felt kind of frustrated, or maybe
definitely frustrated, definitely anger. I remember like I don't know if it was her funeral or like her wake or something like that. Like I just kind of went to the bathroom. I just like broke down. It was sadness, but it was also a lot of anger. It was like again, like why? But just like screaming that shit in the bathroom. Curse?
Of course.
Okay, like just like somebody like screaming that in the bathroom, like, and just like not understanding like why these things are happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You had, you had definitely. You knew that life was going to be different, and this person that you had been hanging on to as like your mentor and your guardian.
Yeah.
If I could ask, what happened?
She had like heart issues, like she had an irregular heartbeat, and like what was told to us, like she was like a bus matron, and like she was going to work one day, and like she like passed out.
Wow.
And like I remember like she's my niece technically, but I call her my sister. My sister Ursula. She had like. We found out that it happened, but she didn't want us to like panic or whatnot. So like I still went to school that day. Once we did find out that she passed out, but we were told that she was okay.
Okay.
And that's I went to school that day, and then we came back, and that's when like Ursula sat us down and was like, okay, like she passed, and I was like, are you serious? But so I know it just had to do something with like heart issues, basically.
And she was 45.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Again, like things happen for a reason. I feel like her not being here, I got like protection elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. We're gonna talk about that. So we're going through high school. That's when you start boxing.
Yeah. So it was my sophomore year. No, actually, it was my junior year.
Okay.
Like the junior year summertime, I started boxing.
Who got you into that?
I would watch UFC, I'd watch WC, I'd watch all the MMA stuff. So like it was something I was like interested in before.
Okay.
So like, but my sister Ursula at that point, she let me go to a gym. She pretty much paid for me to go to a gym that was like bar a house, bar apartment, and like that's when that started.
Okay. So you just with your own you deciding like I want to do this.
Like combat sports is definitely something I gravitated towards like as a kid.
Do you think that there's a reason why? Do you maybe think you had some anger you wanted to get out?
Oh yeah. Like I guess that's
like maybe that was how you channeled it.
For sure. Like I guess that's something I didn't really cover much, but like definitely having like some anger issues in my life growing up. Obviously, like when things kind of like don't go as planned, you kind of develop that that frustration, that frustration or sadness that turns to anger. So I definitely think that was an outlet for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I could see that. I mean, I think it's a healthy way to have an outlet.
For sure.
You have, all these things going on in your life, and you're looking for some type of outlet to be able to let it out.
Yeah.
You go to the UFC boxing gym, you discover a passion that you have. Were you good?
I was kind of nice. I was
Were
kind of
you
nice.
good?
Yeah.
Tell me. Don't be humble. I'm opening the door for you. Walk in.
I think his name's Steve Katz. Like
Okay.
he was the owner of the gym. Like he's seen that like I have like when you in boxing, if you kind of like know how to move, you're not throw punches. Like people can like pick up on that. If you're your first time like going, I feel like I was a natural at it.
You were natural.
Actually, like there was a time where like I kind of did bad in math. So like my sister stopped paying for it, and Steve still let me go to the gym anyway because he wanted me to keep training. But like it was something that I did have like a knack for.
Yeah.
But I didn't like keep going with it because I ended up joining the Navy. But
yeah,
it's something I still have a passion for right now. But just kind of
tell me the story. You tell me that. I want to know the details on that story. You did bad in math.
Yes, like okay.
Tell me the story.
so like math was never really my subject like that. Also, I got caught cheating on a math test before.
Oh, okay.
I got suspended for that.
Okay.
But like if I feel like it didn't matter what level of math it was, I would always get like a 75 or 80 in the class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, like it was a class that I was having a hard time in, and the fact that I didn't do well in that class, like Ursula was like, I don't want to keep paying for this if you're not gonna like do well in math. I want you to like be good at your academics if you want to do this. So
right.
Yeah.
And you
But she wasn't paying for it, but I still went to the gym, and like Steve was like, I'm still let you like come and train. And I told my sister that, and she was like, okay, bet. Like if that's something that's gonna keep you out of trouble. It's also something that's gonna like you can channel like whatever aggression you have.
Yeah.
So you'll still go. I'm not gonna pay for it, but if he's gonna let you train, then by all means.
Did that like for me? I feel like because when I was younger and I struggled in school, when I found success in athletics, I ended up doing better in school.
Okay. I get that.
What about you?
I ended up passing that math class. You know what I mean? I did graduate. So like I do think that me having that like discipline in that level kind of made me, and also she buckled down on me, like make sure like I did my homework, make sure I did like studied. And I do think having like a structure outside of academics kind of helped me have a structure with academics as well. So I think it turned out to be a good thing for me.
Finding success in something makes you feel like success is in you.
I went to PS 151, like that was a school that was in Woodside in the neighborhood that I grew up in, but I had a teacher, Mr. Lesio, like you had pointed out, like when people kind of pinpoint that you have this kind of like, they don't know what it is like you kind of have some kind of like.
The teacher saw something in you.
So she saw something and she like filled out an application for me to go to a different school. So that's like Lewis. So PS 151 is the school that's in my zone. She filled out an application for me to go to Louis Armstrong, which is like a different school, like a more gifted school, it was a more focused as mainly a
more advanced
a music school because it's Louis Armstrong obviously, but a more advanced school.
Well, you had the feedback loop. Your teacher who believed in you saw something in you, applied for you to go to this special school, and so you knew you were smart. You just didn't know like. Maybe you weren't smart in like, I mean, not, you know what I mean? Yeah, you didn't feel like you were, what was being rewarded in the school system, that wasn't catering to your type of intelligence. But
for sure.
Your teacher discovered you. Now you're in this school for gifted students. Yeah. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel good. But again, like you said, like she can identify something, but it's not translating to like, your schoolwork like that. It's not like a direct correlation, but like I think reading, like language arts, social study, like those are like my subjects that I did well in. But again, it wasn't. You keep hearing like you're gifted in some way, but you're not seeing where it translates to. You know what I mean? I feel like the boxing thing, I've seen that it translated there, but again, like I did have that feedback loop of like, okay, success is in you, but just what area of life?
It scared you.
Yeah, a little bit. Like you almost feel like. Okay, like you don't want to like fuck up that opportunity. Yeah. So like
you felt pressure.
You felt pressure like, okay, do I really kind of deserve to be here? Like, but
yeah. Did you embrace that pressure?
Yeah, I definitely did. I feel like you got to just make make the best of it. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel like I was getting good grades
Yeah.
in that school up until my mom passing. Because like when you're a kid, you're getting a lot of your good grades to impress your parents or your guardian.
Yeah.
So I did feel that way. Like I was getting good grades, and then when she passed, I kind of like dipped down for a bit. But then like my sister Ursula kind of like picked up the slack. Helped me pick up the slack a little
Yeah.
bit. But
You know what
I do remember that, like where I was like, it felt good to come show my report card to my
Yeah.
mom, to my sister. Like it felt good to do that. But then when you don't have that person anymore, it's like,
Yeah.
what's the
I
point?
noticed that you keep calling her mom.
Yeah, like because like
awesome.
that's what she became. Like that's what I called her. Like
Yeah.
most of my life, like all my life. I think right now it's a weird time because like I'm explaining to people like what my upbringing was like. So you got to kind of tell people what it is. So it almost feels like disrespectful to call her my sister a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, because like she was my mom,
She was your mom.
but she's technically my sister.
Yeah. All right. So you're doing your boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's going really well.
Yeah.
All right. You finish high school.
Yes.
And now tell me where to go from there.
Okay. I finished high school. I didn't continue with going to the gym. Like once I got out of high school, I didn't do all the paperwork that I had to do to like get into a college. Because if I got into college, I would have to had used tuition assistance.
Yeah.
I didn't fill out any of
Like
that
a grant or a scholarship.
Yeah,
or
some like 'cause they have like the tuition assistance. I know like in New York and whatnot, you have to fill out
Okay.
paperwork for it. I didn't do that. So like there was a period of time where I kind of just like wasn't doing much with myself. I kind of got like a summer job like with one of my friends, but then for the most part I was kind of going out and I was like getting into like stupid things, I guess. And my sister Ursula at the time, like she was the one who was like taking care of me.
Yeah.
So she pretty much said like, okay, it got to a point where like, she was kind of like fed up with me like not doing much.
Yeah.
So she said, I'm about like sleeping in, and she was like, "Wake up, a recruiter's here." Like that's what she told me. I was like, "Are you serious?" So like he comes in, he's talking to me, like Brian, something Brian. He's talking to me, and the entire time he's talking to me, I'm looking at my sister. I'm like, I'm not like okay, I'm not going. If you're not going, then like get out. So pretty much it was like either you get out or you go to the military. And like obviously at the time I was upset, but now I know why she did it, and I'm like happy that she did it because it definitely gave me it gave me discipline, it gave me like a focus.
Yeah.
But I didn't go straight to boot camp from that point in time. Like you go to like a METS program, it's like DEP, delayed entry program. You go to DEP, it's like a delayed entry program. So like you have a couple months to like be at home and like transition to like you going to the military. So like that's pretty much what happened after high school. Kind of.
You know what's so crazy is you and your siblings are all like kind of rallying together to operate as parents in a structure. And you're so concerned with making sure that, I mean, your sisters and, you had some moments or whatever, but it seems like without parental figures really in your orbit, you guys were all like trying to get good grades, do the right thing, stay out of trouble. And of course, there's outside influences that are going to pull people. I mean, even people who have, parents or are disciplining them directly. But I think that is so interesting. Where did that come from?
I think it came from like the parents that, like her parent, like Janet. I think like she instilled into them like a lot of like good qualities. So that it was like a whole tribe raising each other. You know what I'm saying? Because like Ursula was the oldest one, then like this Starlet and Janice, and then Elizabeth and Cornell, then me. So like no one's a parent here, but like we know we had a responsibility to do well. Like we don't want to make things harder on like our sisters because they did take us in, and they're young, they have lives themselves. So like at a certain point, we're all just trying to like do the best we can. And
it's almost a social experiment of humanity, because if you think about it, kids rebel against parents.
For sure.
They don't want to do what their parents tell them to do. But when you're rallying together in like with siblings, you are looking out for each other.
Absolutely.
Your motivation is different because you're trying to do right by your sibling who is also trying to do right by you, and you guys are almost in, like you said, a tribe.
Yeah, like
That's fascinating.
and you can understand their point of view a lot more too. It's like
I can see that.
a parent, you almost automatically have like a certain like opinion of them or like a perspective of them, where like your siblings is like, come on,
You guys are in it together.
Yeah, we are in it together. And,
Yeah.
like, and that's something I didn't really think about at the time, but like looking back at it right now, like that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the fact that you guys kind of rallied together and you were so close like that. That's really, really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have a kind of a moment of you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
You go and you start with the military.
Yes.
Okay. And that instilled even more discipline in you.
For sure.
Okay. How did that impact your life?
In a lot of ways, I feel like when I first got to like boot camp was that experience.
It was a shock.
It was a shock, but at the same time, I know that their whole point there is like to discipline you, to like kind of be hard on you. So like, since you know that's their job, you don't really take anything seriously.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely like told a lot of jokes in boot camp. Like I was like that person, like always joking and whatnot. But it. I
have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. You were not used to like a male figure disciplining you.
Yes.
Was that new for you?
It was new. Like having like people.
Tell me.
You grow up in the neighborhood that we grew up in,
Yeah.
and like not having that male figure, you definitely begin to like operate a certain way when like people are talking to you, like, okay, you're not my dad. So your response to things
Got it.
when someone is like showing aggression towards you or disciplining you was for me was always anger. You know what I mean? And I definitely realized that you can't do that in boot camp. And it was different since I knew that boot camp, it was structured to be that way. I was able to like not get angry because I knew like it was supposed to be structured that way.
Did you learn that the hard way?
In boot camp, no. I feel like boot camp, I was able to kind of like
You were able to calibrate immediately.
I was able to like keep my composure in boot camp because I knew like that the whole environment was to do that. So like I was able to kind of like maneuver in that situation a lot more.
Okay.
When it became like where I had to learn the hard way was when I got to like my first duty station, because like when I got to my first duty station, it's like it's almost real life. You know what I mean? Because I'm there, I'm doing a job as air traffic controller, so I'm doing a job, but you also have time to like just leave your job, hang out with your friends. You get into like a different groove. You know what I mean? It's more like real life. So like the people your coworkers are like, it's not the boot camp environment. So your coworkers are like they're men, they're people, they're people just like you are. So like your relationship with them becomes like more. It starts to mirror like real life more than how boot camp was.
Right.
So I know like. Definitely had anger issues when I was like at that duty station. So like you realize that the way that you respond to like people screaming at you, the way that you respond to like perceived disrespect, you can't do the same things there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this, I had incidents where like someone said something to me and like in my opinion, I was like, I don't want to hit you, so I'm not gonna hit you. I'm gonna go walk out and I hit something. Like I broke some a glass window or whatnot. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
And again, like I had like he wasn't our CEO, but he was like our division officer or whatnot. He was another black dude, which like shouldn't mean anything, but at the same time, like most of that command was of a certain like race. But then having someone in that leadership position that same race as me, like hey, first of all, you have a certain energy about you that could be like threatening to people. You have to like be aware of that, and also like you just because you feel like someone disrespected you, like you can't act like you can't respond like that. Like humble yourself. Yeah. And like I remember that he had me walk around with the definition of humility in my pocket. So like every time he seen me, I had to like pull it out and like show him that I had it like in my pocket. Again, it was a weird punishment, but he could have definitely like captain's masked me. Captain's mask is pretty much like a court. It's like it's a punishment basically. Captain's mask. So he could have done that, which he didn't. He just I think he can like see like where I was coming from, and kind of see the environment that I grew up in, and also
he had you get a sheet that said he had you get the word humility with the definition, and had you put it in your pocket. Yeah. So
every time you see me, like, hey, let me see it. So I take it out and show him. Yeah. Like at the time, I really didn't understand it, but like I know that he wanted me to humble myself, because if I feel like I have the right to respond that way because of some perceived disrespect, like that's you're not gonna get far in life doing things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you at first maybe where you were resistant to like that male energy disciplining you, and then you kind of embraced it.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
felt like it was going to help you. At some point, you reached a point where you're like, this is actually going to help me.
Yes, I remember like after the incident, like he had this conversation with me, but then like the rest of the chiefs had their conversation with me as well. Like it was them like in my face screaming, like, and that the whole point of that was like, I'm screaming in your face. I'm just like, you can't do nothing. Like we're in your face screaming. I know that you want to do it, but you know if you do something, it's a wrap. So like that was like one of the little experiments that they had with me.
Yeah.
And like I'm just standing there like just fucking just like so angry, but it's. And then they kind of sat me down. I believe it was Chief Youngwood. Now he sat me down. He was like, "Learn to control yourself. Like if you can't control, like people have power over you if they can control your emotion that way. So like learn to control yourself." And I feel like that made a big impact on me when it comes to like people could say whatever they want. Like being a man is like controlling your emotions and like handling things with like a calm demeanor. You know what I'm saying? And like that definitely stuck with me. Like people can say whatever they want right now. Like I'm like. I try to, as much as possible, keep a cool demeanor because I'm like, if you can't control yourself, people can control you. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, so there's a lot of discipline going on here.
For sure.
Even like in your upbringing, now you're in the military. What about a mentor? Did you have it in terms of like the like a positive, not so much like from the standpoint of like disciplining, but like somebody that you felt like was like this positive light that you. Okay.
Absolutely. Like.
Okay, tell me about that.
It's one of my friends who I met, Will. He's someone who I met when I got stationed in Diego Garcia. So Fallon, Nevada was my first duty station, and then I went to the small island in the middle of the Indian Ocean called Diego Garcia. Sorry, Diego Garcia, and like. It was one time we were both waiting for like the bus to go to like the brick club. It was our recreational place to go to.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really know him at the time. Like I just kind of seen him around base. I think he was a first class. I was a second class at the time. So he was just like one rank higher than me, but just older than me.
Yeah.
And we just like sit at the bus stop, and then the bus had like left, or like we had missed the bus. We had just missed the bus, so we decided to walk to the brick club, and we just started to talk about like life. So I talking about a bunch of stuff, and like at that point, I seen he was like he thought like I did, but much older. He carried himself in a very calm way, like, and that's one of the people who I ended up like, maybe only a few people today that I listen to. I take his advice because, like, again, we look at life.
He has swagger.
Exactly. So like someone who I felt like he's like me, but he has a little bit more wisdom than me, and so he's one of the people who I ended up listening to, and like we're still friends to this day.
That's awesome.
Like he definitely became like one of my mentors, I guess.
Okay, what would you say he influenced you the most on?
And how to carry yourself. You know what I mean? Like how to maneuver in life when like dealing with different personalities. Like how to let's see. It just like a way of like carrying yourself. You know what I mean? Like and also understand like okay, like you have a certain like energy about you, and I feel like you had the same energy about him as well. That like life is gonna treat you a certain way. Like you're gonna have people who like they don't really know why they don't really like you, but they're not gonna like you. But then also kind of like still carrying yourself, like being a humble person. Also like it's kind of hard to explain, but just like when you recognize that you have a certain kind of energy, you have to carry yourself a certain way.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I
get
it.
That's pretty much like what he like showed me.
Okay, how long were you in the military for?
About 8 years.
8 years?
Yes.
Did you, okay, now we're getting into when you started your bodybuilding career.
Yes, so like after Diego Garcia, I got stationed in San Diego, and like that's where I started bodybuilding.
When was this?
I think I did my first show in 2014, I believe. Okay. 2014.
Who was in your ear about that?
Okay, so I had a buddy, Marvin Moss. So we were stationed at the same like facility. Okay. And he had done a couple shows. Like when I hear bodybuilding, obviously you think of like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you think of like people in like Speedos, but he was like,
especially if you're not familiar with the sport.
Exactly.
You're
so
like thinking,
he got into it and he told me about men's physique, and he's like, no, I'm in board shorts. I remember like seeing I remember seeing a picture of like him like on like he was part of Team Fidelis and Terry Placker. He's like that's the team that he was on. I remember seeing him like on a billboard. I'm like, this kid who I'm like stationed with right now is like he's like making something of himself in the whole sport and like in a different way. And I feel like I was training at the time. I was going to the gym kind of consistently. Yeah. I was like, oh, like it seemed like a dope thing to do. Like you could have this kind of success in this kind of sports while still being in the Navy.
Yeah.
So like I think once he was doing it, I see him doing it, having success at it, and like I started asking him questions about it, and then he gave me some pointers for my first show. He kind of like told me what I should eat. He showed me how to pose a little bit for my first show, and like I ended up winning that first show. But he was the person who was doing it at our command who like made me want to get into it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got bit.
I got but the little.
You got bit by the bug of like,
sure.
This is my thing. I really like it, and then it was a new thing for you to focus on. Okay, you continued on this path, and did he continue to help you, or did you get other?
We actually ended up going to like the 2017 Olympia together. Like he qualified, and then like I got my pro card and I qualified at this. So we both did the 2017 Olympia together. So like, and I think he's still in the Navy right now. So I think his career, like he became a first class, became a chief. So he stayed in the military. So like kind of he still has a pro card, but I think him having that, he also had a kid, he was married. So he's like a different position in life. So I think that kind of like took him away from competing, but I think he still stays like attached to it though.
Yeah. Was that overwhelming for you?
What going
to the Olympia the first time?
I wouldn't say overwhelming. I think once I got into bodybuilding, like I started to develop this like when I got into bodybuilding, also that pursuit of getting my pro card. I remember I tried at USA's like 2016.
Yeah.
And then I went to Miami to try to get my pro card. I didn't get it there, so I got third at USA's and I got fourth in Miami. And like I remember feeling like that's when the whole IGM thing came about. Like, okay, whatever they want from me, I got more. So like that's when I kind of developed this mindset of like, I'm gonna like become successful in this. You know what I mean? So like when I got my pro card, when I got to Olympia, it was like it's something I expected of myself, but at the same time I knew that like that was like another level I had to get to. Once I got placed like the 3rd, 16th at that time. So like it was just like I want to do better, and it was just like that new focus came about.
You got the 3rd, 16th?
Yeah. You know, they stop at 16 for Olympia. So I got
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because that's a real thing.
Like 16
it really
the 3rd
is.
one. Yeah.
It seriously is. So it wasn't overwhelming for you. You knew you were good at it. You had this like feeling that like, I'm good at this. I'm going to be successful at it. Nothing's gonna shake me.
Yeah.
Okay. So what like was in you that made you go, okay, like I want to be the best in the world?
Like once you do something and you see that you're good at it, and now it's like, okay, I'm good at this. Now if I apply some actual like effort into this, like I can take this far. Like so, and also you're kind of getting this positive reinforcement by the people who are around you. Like the people kind of like they see that you do have like a talent at this, and then you can go far. So like it's something I'm good at. I'm having success in it, so it just ignites like that flame in you to kind of like to see how far you can push it.
Who did you have around you that really believed in you, that you felt like were really kind of pumping you up?
So I had some close friends. All like to be honest, like Jacob from Global, like he was a sponsor. Like he was the person who sponsored me through Global.
Yeah.
And like he definitely like I can tell that he believed in me. You know what I'm saying? Like and he like was rooting for me. Like as I was like beginning in that journey, you know what I'm saying? So like that also like having like friends around me who are also in the sport. But again, I had friends around me, but every time I was going on prep, I would isolate myself. Like people who are my friends knew that. Like I'd hang out, like when it was off season, I'd party.
You're very self-motivated.
Yes.
Yeah. That seems to be the trend with top people in the bodybuilding industry. You know, you like to be isolated, and you like to you don't like to rely on anyone.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
Did you and that's a kind of a tie that I'm making with you too, because when you were growing up and you had to kind of like fend for yourself and had to kind of figure things out for yourself, and you continued on figuring things out for yourself, do you feel like maybe succeeding in bodybuilding where you could just rely on only yourself?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was just an ongoing theme in your life, maybe, that
like
you found for yourself?
Again, like my sisters, I know they love me like deeply, you know what I'm saying? But like once I left for the military, I know when I first got to like Fallon, my first duty station, I went home a few times on leave, but at a certain point I just stopped going back home. I just okay, I'm on my own. Like everything, even when I had success, when I got in trouble, I just didn't even tell my family. I just just handle it by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like that, and it's not like out of it. Just you realize that you only have yourself, and like you kind of like realize that only me. I'm the only person to get me out of shit,
Right.
and I know that there's no other variables when it's just me. You know what I mean? So like, I definitely know that, and obviously with bodybuilding, that helps in your pursuit, but it does make you feel like lonely, but like you start to develop also some kind of negative like byproducts of that, like just being like self-reliant. You know what I mean? You're self-reliant, so you're also worried about yourself a lot. You like what you want to do becomes like paramount over anything else. You know what I mean? So like I do think there's like some negative like characteristics can be born from that thought process.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I want to actually know, in your bodybuilding career, there's been a lot of success, okay? But I want you to trace back to the first huge heartbreak that you felt in bodybuilding, where it was just this like gut-wrenching feeling. You didn't do how you wanted to do, or maybe something happened. Tell me about that.
First heartbreak in bodybuilding.
Unless you're one of those rare people who have never had a heartbreak.
Are you talking about like this heartbreak in bodybuilding, or heartbreak that took place while I was bodybuilding?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question back. Let's go with bodybuilding.
Okay.
And then we'll dive into the other.
Okay, the other kind of heartbreaks. Okay, so I feel like I'm a very what show? I'm trying to think about what show where I guess that third place at 20 at USA's, because like it was a heartbreak, but at the same time it was my first national show. But getting so close like that stings sometimes. Like if I would have just did something, like the physique is there. It just like just something you could have done better. And I felt like when you're that close, it's like, damn, like what did I mess up? What did I not do to like to miss it by that much? You know what I'm saying? So like I guess that was the first time where it's like it stings because you're so close, but at the same time, I like.
What about as a pro?
As a pro, let's see.
Have you even had a bad pro show?
Most of the, you know what? Most of the time, it's always my Olympia showings. I feel like I've won every other like show aside from the Olympia and then the Arnold this past time. Like, so I don't really have too many like bodybuilding heartbreaks. I do feel like that 2021 or 2022? 2021. I feel like that time when I got fourth, I felt like what held me back the year previous was I felt like my posing, and I felt like that 2021 I had like got so good at my posing, like it became like my thing. So I feel like I looked better, I posed better, but I placed worse than I did the previous year. And like that was like kind of confusing to me. I was like, again, it wasn't a heartbreak because like you kind of like like that's like the game. It's still really good. Yeah, it's still really good, and you understand like that's just part of the process a little bit. But I was confused by that. You know what I mean? I think
fourth in the world is not necessarily something that people can relate to. Okay, I'm just gonna go out and say that you're unrelatable in that way. But what you are relatable in is there's a lot of talk about you. Okay, every time an Olympia comes, it's Kyron Holden. Kyron could win the title. I mean, there's always a lot of buzz about you, right? How do you navigate that when going into it? And then how does it affect you coming out of it when maybe you feel like you like let down the fans, or I don't know, just...
I think there's only one time where I feel like I let down the fans, and I feel like that was the 2020, I keep getting the years, maybe 2023. 2023. Because I know I didn't show up the way I was supposed to show up. I feel like I was like, I wasn't on my prep the way I should have been. I feel like every other year I was on my prep. Like but that 2023 year, I wasn't. 2022, I believe, I wasn't like, my physique wasn't to that level with that should have been, because I know I was like kind of slacking off on cardio. I was slacking off on a lot of stuff. So like that's the time where I felt bad about how I did, because like, okay, I deserve this placement. You know what I mean? I deserve to like not do as well because I didn't fucking put the work in.
That's a champion right there.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're not talking about at all how anything affected you when you feel like you're on point. Yeah. You're only talking about it affected you when you felt like you could have been better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like when it happens,
that's how a champion answers that.
Okay.
I think, because if you think about it, I mean, a lot of times when people, maybe they don't do their homework or they don't do their work, they do get, sidetracked or affected by what people are saying or what people are buzzing about
Yeah.
or how people are responding to the result, or maybe they're responding to the result. But
Yeah.
if you are content with how you did and you're content with what you're bringing to the stage, then the rest is in the hands of the judges, right?
Yeah.
And wherever
Absolutely.
the cards fall. But with that said, okay, there is social media.
For sure.
There
For sure.
are so many forums and there are so many people, YouTube channels, whatever, you know, and people do kind of continue to talk about you.
Yeah.
Does any of that affect you at all?
And the grand, like sometimes they could be like, because as reserved or as like in control of myself that I kind of appear to be, I'm still subject to like that little like tick, like what? Like I'm still subject to that. I don't, but I know how far to let it go. You know what I mean? Like mentally, but like sometimes like things will get to me. But for the most part, like I know where to put that in my mind. I know where to put that kind of talk in my mind. Like people gotta say what they gotta say. And like people are gonna have their opinions on what I'm doing. But I also think that like at a certain point in my career and in the body, my whole objective switch on what I want to do. Like it stopped becoming about making it to Olympia and winning the Olympia. It was like, okay, I feel like I have a connection with people. I feel like people kind of listen to me what I'm saying, so I have to be very responsible with that. And I think like it shifted. It literally shifted that 2021, that year where I went from third to fourth.
Yeah.
Like before that Olympia, like I had like I don't know if I want to talk about this right now, but like I had an experience where like it helped me see life a bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So like my whole focus was like I want to like impress upon the world a certain thing, a certain like.
Can you talk about it?
No. I guess not really. I'll keep that one close to the chest. Yeah.
Keep that one close to the chest. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you, I want to know, okay, something that maybe, you know, somebody said or did that you were really proud of how you responded to it.
Okay. Let's see. See, now I know she knows. Like someone said that I'm proud of how I responded to it.
If you had somebody on social media, Instagram, YouTube, say something like negative about you, and you responded in a way that you feel really proud of.
Okay.
Or it could be even in person, but just because this stuff happens to all of us. And I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious.
What'd you say? Wait. Yeah. So, okay. I was in a relationship maybe 2018.
Okay.
And I like what happened in that relationship. Like I know that I fucked up in that in a part because like although I had my thoughts and opinions about what was going on, I did step out of the relationship and like kind of like cheated on that particular person. And again, I know why I do certain things. I know what my intentions are, and like she pretty much like I was like blasting on social media, like called a narcissist, called like a bunch of different things. You know what I'm saying? And like I wasn't even sure. I didn't even know what the word narcissist. I knew what the word narcissism meant because but being a narcissist, there's like this whole campaign on like, oh, like
right,
and like a whole bunch of stuff was being said about me, and I'm like, okay, I cheated. I know I fucked up there, but what is all this other stuff? Like it's almost like painting out to be a monster, and like I know that's not who I am. It's never been who I am. Like so, like that was kind of a thing that was like. As much as I want to like go in there and just like say my side and like, hey, how about this? And like again, once I heard about the term and I was called that, especially if you value the person's opinion of you, you take it seriously. So like I did a mad research on what it was. I did mad research on like I did so much research on it that I'm like, okay, I can see how there's some characteristics here. See, I can do some characteristics here. So like, I did a lot of critical inventory after that time. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much.
You're like seeing if maybe you can diagnose yourself.
Yeah, basically, I'm like, okay, like I've never. This is not something I've really heard before, but like, let me see what is going on here. So like, there was I felt around that time like there was some character traits that I kind of wanted to like get back because like, you don't want to be anywhere near that. You know what I'm saying? There's some character traits that are like, again, I did a lot of like self inventory at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like. Figuring out if it's true, figuring out, and then you determine like, okay, like what my intentions are with the situation. Like that's not here. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no like But again, there was so many things that I wanted to say after that situation upon me doing a bunch of research that I was like, nah, I'd
Wow.
rather say nothing. I'd rather say nothing and just be who I am. Be like
Yeah.
now that I did this critical, I did the self inventory. Like
Yeah.
I know what things, I know how I never want to be again. I know what things I never want to make someone feel like this again. Like I'll just be who I am. Just be
Wow.
who I am. And like that's kind of like what I've done since then. But like that was a time where like something was said, and I'm proud of how I responded because I know like I could have went about that situation differently.
You you were owning your role in that
Yeah.
situation. People were saying bad things about you, and instead of reacting to it, you're like, how can this make me a better person?
Absolutely.
Who does that?
I don't know.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Probably just all of your going through from like the discipline that your sister had up to like high school, and then doing boxing, having a mentor in boxing, and then the military. You're kind of learning how to deal with situations. So then when something is thrown at you like this, your first response is, what role do I play in it? And how could I become a better person because of it?
Absolutely. Like, also just kind of control your emotions, controlling how you react to things. Like, okay, I feel like, okay, this is one of those times. This is one of those times right now. You know what? I know like if I understand morals. I have morals. So I understand what's wrong to do. I understand what's right to do. You know what I'm saying? And also you start to identifying cultural things. Like it's not right, but I know like from my when you hear songs, like there's like a cultural where I'm from, where like there's certain things that's kind of like they're not as frowned upon as they are in certain places. You know, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like, okay, I understand. Like I have friends who do this, but that's not right. Like you could be hurting someone by doing certain things. You know what I'm saying? So like it made me look at a bunch of things, obviously myself, but then also look at like how cultural background could make you exhibit certain behaviors that's not right, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So it was a learning experience for sure.
I think you're really socially intelligent, to be honest.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think just even from a young age, you were, people gravitate to you. You know, you're like naturally just really popular, cool factor, I guess you could say.
I like that.
The swag of your dad.
Yeah. For sure.
But you're naturally finding, you're navigating kind of rough territory that isn't really paved for you. You don't really have a road that is just like laid out for you. You're kind of just figuring things out as you go.
Like that's 100% what it is. Like I wrote something recently, like
the song.
Yeah, looking back at my steps, something guided all my moves. Like when I like look at back at it, it's like I feel like
Can you read, like not read, but can you recite a verse of your lyrics?
Okay, let's just start from the. Hold on. I said, different kind of energy, the reason they adore me. Instincts of a killer, probably got it from my dad. Never knew him like that, but I heard a couple stories. Always knew I was the one, but I'd rather hold my tongue. Means more when the people say it for me. Got static in my lungs. Breathe life into everything around me, and that's how you found me, the fuck from around me. I feel what it is, sensitive to the subtle, so I stay in my bubble. If I stay out my bag, that means I stay out of trouble and do the math. And then like,
do the math.
Yeah, like
did you do the math?
I did it eventually. like it's like, and that song is like I don't want to talk about something. I don't want to talk about like things that I don't do and like anything that I write. But it's literally like it's pretty much writing down like my path. So like I do realize that like if it's my mom doing it, if it's like God, the universe, I do feel like if you have a purpose, if you're supposed to like show up to the world a certain way, like the universe is going to take you down that path so you can show up the way you're supposed to. You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of what's happening. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be at the end of the day, but I feel like I'm on the path. I'm going to keep listening to like whatever guidance I'm getting and then do it.
I'm speechless. You have taken a little bit of a break from the stage right now, but not before going and beating the Mr. Olympia champion at the Legion. I was there. That was a huge win.
Absolutely.
You won the Legion, and it was the toughest lineup aside from the Olympia stage. You literally beat Mr. Olympia Physique. Went into the Olympia, and of course, people are buzzing about you.
Yeah.
becoming the champion, okay? You stepped off that stage, and although you did not win the Olympia, you were filled with hope because you had an incredible season. So take me to after you step off stage and you decide to take a little bit of a break, and what's going on with that? What's the reasoning behind that?
I just feel like every preps are good for me because each prep has a certain theme where I'm like learning different things about myself and like, but it's also they could also be distractions from like other work that I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like me taking this year break, it's given me the opportunity to kind of focus on like building my business, building a brand, and also what was paired with that this time is like getting back into yoga, because as I know that I'm still carrying a lot of weight, since I'm like, again, I can intellectually understand a lot of things that happen in my life, but you still have a lot of like energy that you haven't like expressed or reconciled in a certain way, and it can hold you back. And I definitely do feel like as successful as I'm able to be in bodybuilding, there's certain aspects of myself that I'm not like firing on all cylinders. You know what I mean? So like
what? What's your greater purpose? What are you wanting to do with your brand?
I want to help people who kind of have similar upbringings where like they have energy in the body they haven't like reconciled yet, or like you're dealing with like trauma, you're dealing with abandonment, you're dealing with all these different things. Like people are shown to the world like fractions of who they're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't think it has to be that way. I feel like we've been given a lot. We've been getting a lot of resources. I think like yoga is one of the resources that we've literally been given to kind of help us like deal with those things, so that we can like show to where we're supposed to, and then also like get like push beyond as well. Like you want to give back what you feel like was given to you. Absolutely. And I feel like that guidance, I don't think everyone had that guidance. I don't think so. Like if you've been given the guidance, you got to a certain point. So like since you've been given the guidance, it's your job to help guide other people. You know what I'm saying? Like I do feel like that. I feel like bodybuilding. You're
holding a baton, and it's your turn to pass it off.
Absolutely, absolutely. And bodybuilding was something that helped me do that. I feel like, again, bodybuilding is a very inherently spiritual sport, because again, you are pushing yourself. You have to like find the willpower to do things physically that you don't want to do. You have to kind of go against all your instincts of like eating certain foods, or like starving yourself, like not starving yourself, but like being at a deficit in calories and pushing to do cardio when you're tired. Like you have to like be very, very much in touch with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's a way that like this sport can be done where you're still doing the same things, but like you don't. A lot of the examples of people kind of like their lives are, like they can have the success in bodybuilding, but like other parts of their life are destroyed. Like their relationships are messed up, and I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're very socially intelligent, so I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
As a coach, you start picking up on trends, and here's what I mean. You notice that there are certain people that are attracted to you, that gravitate to you.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that, because because you, I'm sure, have probably noticed some trends in the type of clients that come to you.
For sure. Like what I can tell about the clients that come to me right now, like they're all very successful people.
Okay.
Like I've had like a lot like people who are driven, like a lot of people who are driven, but like
that makes you feel good.
That makes you feel good, but there's also like they either went through some kind of pain, or they had like some kind of like relationship issues or something like that, or they know that there's an area in their life where they can get better at. Like they feel like they're having success, but there's something else. There's something else that they haven't like gotten past yet to like take them to the next level. I feel like that's literally the people who are coming to me right now. A lot of successful people, a lot of like driven people, but they're looking for like that next step, and like I think that's kind of like dope, because it also mirrors like the path that I'm on right now.
Because people see in others what they see in themselves.
Absolutely.
People are seeing something in you that they see, or maybe they see could be become their reality, and that is what people gravitate to. You know what I mean?
That was a really good question. That was a good question. I like that.
That's what I've noticed. I think that there's a lot of people coaching right now, and people always like, maybe they don't realize it, maybe subconsciously they're not realizing it, but there are definitely energies. People are very specific. People are become attracted to you. For
sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
And also when your energy is off, you notice that there's a different type of person that maybe is attracted to you. right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You're thinking of something. Tell me.
It just, when your energy, like, just understand,
Yeah.
like, you're drawn to energy that you resonate with, but then also if your energy is not in a good place, you'll draw
Yeah.
the wrong kind of person, or the person that's not so much aligned with your actual energy, but they're aligned with that off energy that you're projecting. You know what I
And
mean?
you're
So,
into energies.
absolutely, it governs everything.
Tell me about the energy system that you're into, and then I want to know specifically what your very specific type of energy is.
Oh, okay. So like the human design system. So the human design system is like a compilation of a couple different like modalities. So like it's the Tai Ching, it's the Kabbalah, it's astrology, it's also numerology. So also like the 64 codons of the DNA. It's another like.
That's wild.
Yes, so it's taking all these different like things and combining it so that people can get a very precise readout of what their energy is, what their energy is supposed to be, like how they can show up to the world the best way possible. You know what I mean?
You're
so, like,
really into this.
Yes.
And you really believe in this.
I do believe in it. Like I don't think it's the end all be all, but I do think that it's a really good way to like at least begin to understand yourself on a deeper level, understand like why you operate the way that you do, and like if you don't know anything else, it's a good starting point to kind of like understand what direction you should go into.
So what about you?
Oh, okay. So like there are 5 different energy types. There's manifestors, there's generators, there's manifesting generators, there's reflectors, and there's projectors.
Okay.
So so like the world is made up of mostly manifestors and manifesting generators. Like those are like the people who like they have like unlimited power source. They can keep on if they are given like a direction, they can keep on going. So those are generators. The manifesting generators, they're the people who are kind of like they're more dynamic. So that like there's not just one thing they can focus on. They can focus on a bunch of different things, but they have very similar like energy type where they have that power to keep going. There's manifestors. The manifestors are more like they're like the planet, like not the planners, but like they're like the
visionary.
The visionary people, exactly. Like visionary people basically. So like if they have like the autonomy to kind of do what they need to do, they'll have new ideas and they'll like push it through. They have the power to like to build these new things. There's projectors. Projectors are like more like the guides and the teachers. Like their energy are meant to like read into another person's energy and help them kind of realign with their core values and like who they're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And then they're reflected. Reflectors are like small percentage, like they're 1% of the world, and they're pretty much their job is to pretty much reflect back to society where they're at. You know what I'm saying? So they'll mirror society on a whole, or like whatever group they're in. They'll mirror that group back so that you can kind of see where you're at. You know what I mean?
Every one of those is needed to make the world go around. They're all awesome contributors to our overall energy system. What are you?
I'm a projector.
You're a projector?
Yes. So like
that one sounded the coolest.
I think so too. But when reading it, when like reading like the projected thing, like again, I feel like if you have a certain belief about yourself, like before I knew about the design system, the human design system, like again, I'm a self-motivated person, and like I'll push myself to like until I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? But like to find out like you don't have that same kind of battery as like other types do. So like that was kind of like, and they always say, okay, the way you show up to the world is not like a doer. You're the way that you're a guide or a teacher, the person that's supposed to show other people how to like what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying?
See talent in other people.
Exactly.
And you know how to pull it out of them. Perfect for being a coach.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You see maybe something in someone else that they don't see in themselves. You're really good at that.
Yeah, that's. I've always.
I'm asking and telling you that at the same time.
I'm like, yeah.
It's a question and an answer at the same time.
I'll take that. So when I first read about like the projector, I was always like, because it almost seemed like a weakness a little bit, because like you don't have that same like power to go do things, and I always felt like I did, but like you realize that like there's more power in like being able to read situations better. Like, you don't have to have all the power when you can see the easier way to do things. You know what I'm saying? And I do realize like when I look at like my path in bodybuilding right now, like I can see the projector, like how much, because a lot of times like I lean more on like energy and like spirituality and like different like metaphysics and esoterics when it came to bodybuilding. Like I would use a lot of those techniques in my bodybuilding career, because I felt like that was how I needed to approach it to like have the success. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or like make the mark that I was supposed to make. So,
which we are about to talk about.
yes.
I will say, I think that gravitating to an energy system that you're gravitating to, it's almost like it's giving you that feedback loop that maybe you didn't have in other ways in your life.
Yeah.
It's like a non-human form of guidance for you or affirmation for you.
Yeah.
You're finding that you are naturally good at coaching, guiding people, finding success in others, and that's your purpose. And maybe you don't have like somebody on the outside kind of affirming that for you, but you've kind of gone your own way, found this energy system that kind of does that for you.
Yes, that's
which is so cool.
That's a good insight. Like again, like you being self-made, not having that parental figure. Like even the mentors I had, like they're not like telling me these type of things. So like you kind of have to like learn yourself in a certain way.
Isn't that so cool? I think that's so cool that you can find it yourself.
Yeah.
You're on a path of self-discovery. You're finding things around you.
Yeah.
You know, an amazing girlfriend who supports you and is aligned with you.
Like she's very family orientated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and she made me like I said, I'm developing a relationship with my biological mom right now, and like she's like telling me more things about myself, and I think like I definitely credit her for that because since she's so close with her family, she's like, yo, just text your mom, like talk to her, and like she's been really like good with that, like, and also just like having someone you kind of like let your guard down with as well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like valuable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, you knew this question was coming.
What question is it?
Everything that you've done in your life, the way you've self-guided yourself, the way you've sought out your mentors and your guidance and your energy systems, everything that you've done. Okay, looking back at all of that, somebody who looks up to you, what would you say to them on like how you've paved your path? And then the second part of that is, what do you plan to do in the future to continue making your mark?
Okay. So what would I tell someone in order? I would say get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Like you we're all a mini universe. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all that. Like it's a microcosm, as above, so below. Like it's just the reality in the universe is fractal. So like we're just one thing is made and it just keeps making like smaller copies of that. So if you have to understand who you are first so that you know what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to leave your mark. So I implore everyone to like learn about themselves, like learn what your energy is, learn what your energy type is, learn why you were given the name you were given, like look into your birthday and like see if there's more going on in this world. Learn yourself because it's really gonna give you the whole readout on what you need to do to make your mark in life.
Wow, that was good. That was awesome.
It's true. It's definitely true. Learn yourself.
Moving forward, what do you plan to do and continue to do so that you could continue to leave your legacy and your mark?
I definitely think that right now it's pour into others. I feel like I've been led. I've been kind of given the guidance and led so that I can like have the success because like people aren't gonna really. You can be very knowledgeable, but if you don't have like the success to show that you did it, people you won't have that credibility to mean anything to someone else. But like, I think right now I've been able to do that. So like just pour into other people. But I also feel like this is something kind of on the fence about. Like I do want to get back. I do want to get back on stage and like finish out like what I started with bodybuilding. But at the same time, it's not as important to me as it used to be, to be honest. I think right now I want to like pour into other people and like watch them grow, watch them like have the success because I do think like that's what my purpose is right now. To like pour into others and like watch people just like sprout. Yeah.
Sounds good. That's really good. Oh my gosh, Kyron.
I think that was good.
It was really good. That was really good. You left me speechless.
Nice.
I have to say, I mean, you're such an amazing person.
Thank you.
Such
I appreciate that one.
Kind soul. I love just everything about you and everything that you stand for. And I just want to say, you are absolutely leaving your mark. And
thank you.
We all appreciate you. So thank you so much.